In this video, I'll be talking about how to take care of your own game. A lot of players, they do this mistake of like trying to get a lot of farm without applying any pressure first or like helping their cores first. You apply pressure first and then you want to farm. Alright, so in this Earth Spirit game, basically I'm in a laning phase right now. We're still 5 minutes into the game, and this is kind of like first point of like where you need to think about making the decision after lanes. It's going to be the siege waves or the power runes, which I talk about a lot. So I'm going to walk to base, grab a ward and a sentry. I'm going to refill my Storm's bottle. Why I do this is, generally speaking, you want to make sure that your strong heroes, or like your pressure heroes, have a good game. That's going to apply more pressure to the enemy team. That's going to make it easier for your carry to farm, but not only your carry, it's actually going to be making sure that you're going to have a good game yourself. Because if everybody understands that if my cores, my team is able to put pressure on enemies, that's going to give space to the weaker heroes. So basically, I'll just refill my Storm. This enables him to go for a kill on this Dawnbreaker that's trying to get XP. You see this guy, this guy is making the mistake of not applying any pressure on the game. He's just kind of like, he's sitting in the mid lane with his observers. He's very unleveled. He's actually the lowest level hero, one of the lowest level heroes inside the entire game. This is like, it's way too early for him to be trying to establish himself. He should be trying to make space, at least with his cores. Make sure that Snapfire is a good game. But instead, he does the opposite of what I'm trying to teach you guys here. Is enable the cores first, put pressure first, and then you'll get space in return. What I want to do is, again, I want to make sure that this guy has the best game possible. So you see, like, I'm not even looking at my Venge anymore. Like, if we look at the Venge's game now, you see, like, he's in a really bad spot. He's basically not touching any creeps. But the thing is, like, I don't want to have defensive mindset here. If I have a defensive mindset of just like sitting with my Venge, like holding hands with him, like trying to help him by sitting around, like kind of like moral support, it's not going to do any pressure. It's not going to help my Storm to have a better game. It's actually going to make my Venge have a worse game. But what I can do is I play with my Storm, make sure that potentially the Treant will TP away. They will respond to our pressure, and that gives space to the Venge. I like to think about it like, you know, let's say you have a very AFK farming carry, like an Alchemist or a Medusa or an Antimate or something. Like, how would this guy feel like if he's farming the Ancients and his entire team sits next to him? He's gonna feel like shit. What he wants to happen is like the attention and the action dragged as far away from him as possible. That's why it's important that you play with their strong heroes, so that you apply the pressure elsewhere. You take the action away from your weak cores, put it with the strong cores. This can be supports, they can be cores, but in general, you want to make sure that you use your strong tools. You get your horses, your knights out, like in a chess game. And you get them into the action as soon as possible. Well, let's see, we're gonna keep snowballing them. You know, even if we don't get the killers, we get the Treant to, you know, force TP, and this is gonna enable our Venge to get creeps in this lane. Maybe he's not gonna win this lane because of it, but this means that now he's actually in XP range. And once again here, guys, so we go for this moment. You know, now my Storm has no resources. This means that now our strong hero is not able to do anything. We already made the Treant TP. I don't need to keep forcing it. I don't need to keep running around now. What I instead want to do is I want to make sure that I wait for my Storm to be ready. Unless I have a clear play bottom, I want to make sure that I'm waiting for my Storm and then I go with him again. I make sure that I have resources when he does. So in the meantime, he's going to walk to the base, right? This is my... Or he's going to clear the jungle camp first and then he's going to walk to base. This is my time to actually get a lane. Because there's no pressure play to be made, right? If there's no pressure play to be made, we shouldn't look for one. Then we can prioritize ourselves. This could be if our cooldown is down, if my cores don't have their cooldowns or mana or XP required, if they're like, we can't go for a kill, we can't go for a smoke. That's when I, you know, try to get my game going, because that's mean we need to wait for another timing, right? So we look at it in the most simple like terms possible. So my Storm goes top. I immediately will TP with him. We secure this kill on the Furin carry. So here I'm gonna get what I need. I'm gonna farm my level 6. I think I'll get my Urn also. And now, you see, so I hit my level 6. This is a timing for my hero, right? Timings are going to be different for a lot of heroes. Some supports, they will not have a timing on level 6. Like Enchantress. He might not have like the best timing on level 6 compared to other support, but Earth Spirit will have a great one. Earth Shaker. Also, most supports like Shadow Shaman will have his ulti. When you pick up an ulti like this, that's like a by far stronger timing than any level before that, right? Ultis are stronger than normal spells. This is why you should look to use it as soon as you can. As you can see now, I'm no longer farming. I'm actually very, how do you say, like active to look for a play right now. Even if you can't find it, it means my intention is still there. I still want to be able to use this ulti as soon as possible, potentially kill a hero, maybe go for a tower, something like that. But I'm not trying to sit around with my cooldowns ready, because I'm very powerful at this point. My Venge, on the other hand, he's not very powerful. He has had a bad laning phase. He can take the space now. So he's looking for plays, trying to go for my Storm. I actually end up using my ulti here on the Dawnbreaker. It's not gonna pay off, but at least I try to use it. And then, you know, like I'm off timing. Like I'm cold. I have low mana. I have no resources in terms of my ultimate. This is when I want to farm. Regardless if like a kill was happening or not. If we got the kill in the end, we want to make sure that we use our cooldowns. If it doesn't work out, fine. Just at least try to use it, and then you can look to farm. At least, like, don't try to take the fights when your cooldowns are down. Basically, is what I'm saying. You really want to be active when you have it, but when you don't have it, you don't need to. So we take a fight here. I don't end up using my ultimate, so that means I'm still ready to go, right? I still have resources. I make sure that I have mana. I have HP when I have my ulti. I'm ready to make a play still. Now we go for this fight. I end up using my ultimate here. We get a really good fight going, get a tower and 2 kills, which is great. So what we want to do, guys, is when we take successful fights, when we get successful ganks off, any sort of move, it could be a tower, a Roshan, use your ulti especially, you don't have resources, you want to make sure to reward yourself. It's not always going to be possible, and you don't always need it. Like, in this point of the game, I'm doing pretty good, relatively. I'm already level 10, I use my ulti, but you see, like, my Storm is really, really strong. He has the Kaya already, really early into the game. He wants to keep playing. That means I can play with him. You see, we feel strong, so we're just going to go for continuous moves here. Try to use our ulti again. Go for another play with my ulti. Kill a few heroes, force a bunch of rotations. So you see here, now is the point, like, I use my ulti, I have no HP mana. I'll just walk to base. And at this point, like, if you consider my my toolkit, you could say that I'm decently strong with my earn charges, but in the end, like, I'm kind of still the same hero that I was around minute 7 or 8, simply because I haven't picked up any new items. I have my earn, it's fine. I don't have any stone ornaments though, and I don't have my ulti. And I'm also at the point where, like, I'm kind of getting closer to level 12, right? My ulti hasn't gotten stronger for about like 5 or 6 minutes. And it's also on cooldown. This is when I want to really reward myself. I put a lot of pressure. We know where all the dire heroes are. Like, my Medusa is under no pressure at all, remember. I spoke about this earlier. We take the pressure away from the carry that's supposed to farm. Not necessarily the carry. Most of the time it's going to be, but sometimes it might be the offlane or the mid that is struggling. You want them to farm. Anyway, you want to put the pressure away from the farming hero. He's feeling good. He's not going to be under pressure because they all TP'd mid. Now this is my time to reward myself. I'll take the bottom lane. And, you know, I don't need to look for much here. You know, because we were able to put pressure on the game should be fairly easy to read from my course. And even if they die or get ganked or whatever, it's not really my problem anymore. Like, I'm not strong, therefore I shouldn't be looking to fight, right? We apply the pressure. It's really important that I reward myself, but the process is the most important thing. So, like, if you start doing what the Dawnbreaker did in the earlier example, like, he starts farming without applying any pressure, without securing the wards, you know, refills, smokes, stacks, all these things that help the core apply pressure, then it's just going to look bad. It's going to put pressure on your cores. It's also going to put pressure on you. You're going to get less farm as a result. But because the process is right here, we apply pressure first, use our ultis, and then we go farm. My game is going to be a lot better, and as you can see, like, the Medusa has barely been touched this whole game. And one thing, guys, also, like a smaller side note, when you're playing on a lane like this, you don't have your ulti and stuff, it's important that you don't sit static in this point of the game. You want to make sure that you push the lanes out, so you're not, like, actually, you're actually providing information for your team. If you're pushing the lanes in, it's going to provide info for your team, because nobody's going to skip a wave in Dota. It's way too big of a resource, gold and XP-wise. If you don't see enemy heroes on their waves, that means that they're probably looking to do something. This is a way to provide information while still farming. Here my team decides that they want to take a fight without me. That's fine. You know, like, you can't always make the decisions for your teammates. And as I didn't have my ulti, I don't feel like I have to join this fight. I want to get my vessel. I want to get my level 12. Because, you know, at level 11, my ulti is still the same as it was when I was level 6. I like to think about this not only about XP or, like, you know, abilities level. I also like to think about this in terms of net worth. So So a good example, like if, let's say you're trying to buy a BKB, right? You're owning the game. Like let's say you're playing, I don't know, Razor Mid or something, and you're owning the game. You have the Ogre Axe and you have the Mithril Hammer. This doesn't mean that you're much stronger. Like 10 strength and 24 damage is not nearly as impactful as 9-second magic immunity. That's pretty self-explanatory, right? I like to think the same about like ultis and items on any hero. So right now I'm level 11 and a half. This means that I still have the same level of magnetize as I did minute 9. So that means like my power level hasn't increased that much. Sure, my other abilities and stuff has gotten a lot stronger. My urn is still not a vessel though. This means that like if you think about a cycle, so like there's power spikes in every hero. Like I'm spiking really hard when I pick up my level 6, and then it goes downward all the way, and then it spikes again when I hit my level 12. So you want to avoid taking fights like when you're at the lowest point before a spike, if that makes sense. So that's what I'm trying to do here. See, I'm still trying to get my level 12, not really forcing anything. And then as I pick it up, we go for an immediate move. And this is a good way, like a really, really high tier way of making sure that you always make good decisions. You're like making sure that you fight when you are at the absolute strongest relatively to the game. So as soon as you hit a timing, level 12, level 6, item timing, whatever, you really want to make use of it as soon as you can. But when you're like at the lowest point before the spike, you might want to think twice before you enter a fight. Usually this is going to be more around the course, but it's also very important to know this as a support. It can also help you make better decisions for your course. You might not want to smoke. If your Storm is level 11 and a half, you might not want to smoke him. You might want to wait that extra 30 seconds, even if it looks good in terms of map. So yeah, I picked up my vessel now. I'm gonna have it sent out with the courier. And now we're basically just snowballing the game. Pretty much. I don't need to farm a lot more now. As you can see, I'm like running around a lot more. Pretty much similar to when I was level 6. You saw me running around a lot in the dire jungle here, trying to play with my Venge and my Storm. It's pretty similar here. Like I just picked up my 12. I have my vessel. This means I wanna keep going. I wanna extend this spike as much as I can until something stops me. Like maybe they get a dispel, maybe my cores are dead. Anything that stops me, until I see that, I don't really want to stop, or until I feel like I've done enough. I made as many moves as I need in this timing. This is something that comes with intuition and experience. But yeah, like the point is I'm using my spike to the fullest potential. I'm going really crazy around this timing. I encourage my cores to come with me, like that means buying smokes and wards and all these good things. See, now I have my ultis again. I'm gonna smoke right away. Basically just chain feeding the enemies. See, we kill somebody top, immediately go bottom, kill both of them. Even all 3 of them. And now we're at the point where like we're 10k up. But before I picked up my vessel, let's see that timing. When I picked up my vessel, we were like 4k up. But now like my timing is so strong, it paid off so much that at the end of this, when we kill the Snapfire bottom, in the later example, we were able to go from like 4k lead to 10k lead pretty fast. Obviously my other heroes helped me, but just understand guys that me taking the time to farm, get this vessel, get this level 12 as soon as possible, while we already made a lot of pressure in the game, this means that we can play much more aggressive. This might make the difference in these coming fights. And you see, enemy supports, they don't have this sort of luxury. They don't have items. They don't have like the same amount of levels. They cannot be as offensive. They didn't enable the course as well as my team did. And in the end, that's one of the key differences in, how you snowball games. This doesn't mean, if we look at this replay, like I didn't farm that much, like my net worth is not that high, like it's not super impressive or anything. But the key thing is I got the levels, I applied the pressure for my cores, and then, I got barely what I needed, which in this case was just a vessel to be able to kill the timber saw. In other cases, it might be a blink dagger. It's important to like not over focus on these things as a support. Like if you, let's say you play Tiny 4, you want to get a blink dagger, you don't want to just go straight into farming mode and be like, guys, I'm not doing anything until I have my blink. That's not how you want to do it. You want to be sure to use smokes, buy wards, buy sentries, refill, stack, camp runes, all of these things, because in that way you'll get a lot more farm in return. Your carry will feel safe, your cores are going to be strong. It's going to be easier for you to farm without feeling like your team is walking around feeding while you're actually taking the farm. And obviously like kills matter a lot in Dota still. It gives you gold and XP. So yeah, make sure to make the moves, apply the pressure, enable your course, and then you'll be able to get the farm in return. And the game is going to feel a lot more smoother for you. You're going to feel actually more free to get the farm that you need to play your game.